Y'all keep talking. I'm gonna go ahead and get our guy in here, get Michael in here. So y'all keep talking.
Go right ahead.
My standard recipe is a can of maple syrup to a kilogram of honey, and which starts at about 1.135 or so. And I think I usually use EC1118.
Hello, this is Michael.
Hey, Michael. Welcome to GotMead Live. We're right in the middle of talking about maple in mead. So, yeah. Sorry, we're a little late bringing you in. We were having a little bit of trouble with AJ's mic, so things got kind of tied up for a bit there. But welcome to GotMead Live.
No, that's fine. Oh, thanks a lot. I enjoy your podcast immensely.
Oh, thank you. We try.
Nice.
But
we try hard.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, you put on some really good people on that I really enjoy, like Frank Goldbeck from Gold Coast Meadery.
Oh yeah,
He's
Frank's a lot of fun.
Super cool cat that I've talked to and worked with, and the gentleman from Hidden Legend Winery out of Montana.
Oh, Ken Schultz, yeah.
Yeah, man, he's like one of my heroes.
AJ, your keyboard is coming through again.
That one is actually not me. I don't know who.
Oh, okay. So whoever's keyboarding.
I have a phone.
Yeah. That must be then by virtue of elimination. Yeah, it's that Australian guy.
Because I think muted himself.
Yeah, apparently so. It got real quiet all of a sudden. I think I added David Webb to the call too. David, are you here?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yeah, we can.
Very well.
Thank you for being on the show. I didn't realize I'd added you until I was just looking at the screen and going, "What the heck?" We just lost Hamish.
Oh.
I had to turn my speaker down
computers are wonderful.
because I was afraid I'd get feedback through the system.
Oh, okay.
No, I got to tell you, if you're going through Skype, feedback is kind of non-existent, really. I don't know what it does, but there's not a lot of feedback worries.
I don't know. I get the occasional thing, but
I've been sitting.
If you're playing, usually it only happens if you're playing the podcast while you're trying to speak into it.
Maybe because I've had my speakers next to literally 1 inch away from my Snowball microphone, and zero feedback. You guys have never heard feedback from me, right?
No,
Not the squelchy nastiness we sometimes get. No.
Yeah, no. I mean, I always have the mic like literally 1 inch away from the speaker. No feedback. So go ahead, don't worry.
So we're having fun with signals tonight. Hamish Signal is giving him fits too. So anyway, on to the show. Now that we hopefully have resolved all of the major equipment issues that seem to be plaguing us this evening. So Mike, what did you bring to drink?
Well, I was drinking earlier, but then I had to go to work. So I work a night shift at an alternative high school where right now I'm filming how to make bee fondant for feeding bees over the winter for Perma Ethos as a television and learning center. So I have a beekeeping educational program that I've been filming over the last couple days.
Cool.
So we're at an alternative high school using their culinary department, making some beefy. So I took some time out while I could talk to you for a little bit, and then I'm back to putting on a microphone and having some bright light shine in my eyes.
Oh my gosh! So you're making Purina bee chow? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, I have a on Perma Ethos television. It's a learning center. They teach about agriculture and permanent ways of feeding people, and one of them is pollination using bees. And so I have it's called a beekeeping design course. So we're filming parts of it, and it comes out every year of like how to get your bees started, how to winterize your bees, when is it time to put on honey supers, how do you harvest honey, how do you make mead, right? So we just put a whole bunch of different programs on the agricultural line for beekeeping on their course.
So the how do you make mead part? It's included into the high school program.
Well, I'm using the high school's culinary department to film a section on how to make bee feeds. So we're making fondant cakes to feed the bees over the wintertime. And high school here is an alternative high school. They have a great culinary department. They have a beautiful station. So they let me use the facility so I can have the camera crews come in, because my kitchen at home is like 1/16 of the size of this room. So to bring in the film crew and everything to film me stirring a whole bunch of sugar and honey together is small. But the mead making part, I do teach the kids the fermentation. Not always, it's not considered fermentation until you add a yeast product to it. So we can blend all this stuff down and teach them about the aspects of brewing. And
that's cool.
Brewing mead has a lot to it when you're using weights, measures, mathematics, flavors, textures, and stuff. So there's a lot of science and mathematics in fermentation and brewing. And once we make all this stuff up and make the worts and stuff to make with the meads, then I take it home and I dump the yeast in, and then I get to keep it. So I use children's labor basically to work some stuff out.
I love that.
That's pretty funny. So Michael, is this, I mean, you're working with bees and doing your beekeeping stuff. This is what you do, right? I mean, teaching about bees and all that. This is your job?
Yeah.
Wow. That's so cool.
That's what I do. Is I travel all over to different places in the United States. Back in 2005 and 2006, I was a representative for the Pearl Foundation, and I wrote a beekeeping program, how to teach orphanages how to be beekeepers. That with using bees, they could pollinate food crops, they could produce a product that they could sell, they could go back to their villages or towns and use it to propagate food as well as bring in income to their town. And it took off really well. We ended up doing some stuff in Vietnam, Indonesia, Kenya. Let's see, I ended up getting my master's in beekeeping from Uganda, from the Department of Interior and Agriculture there, after going there and doing some stuff with the program. So my main scope is teaching people a vast variety of beekeeping, just not one method. That, in fact, in my front yard at my house, I have 5 different types of beekeeping that people can come by and look at, that from Langstroth beekeeping to top bar to the eco hive to Worray hive to new colony splitting with nucleus boxes for increased essentials. And that's just in my front yard, that people can come by and see the different types of beehives in the front yard. So I teach many different things. I traveled all over the world, actually, to learn everything from Perone hives to Slovak hives to Kenya top bar beekeeping to Turkish round hives, just to find out the different measures of what it would take to make the best nectar flow. So I could see what it would really, what beekeeping on a good or organic or a natural basis to find good nectar, so I could actually make some of the better meads. That some of even my meads that I make, I ship in honey from different places all over the world to get different nectar flows and different tastes to make some of my meads.
Wow.
I have a quick question. A lot of the news lately for laymen has been dominated by the fact that there's that the bees are dying. Is that an American phenomenon, or is that happening all over the world? And
the United States is.
And why is that happening?
In the United States, we're about 10 to 12 years behind that colony collapse disorder. That back in about 1998, 2001, Europe experienced huge fallouts of colony collapse disorder. And then it came here and hit us about 2006, 2007. It was getting very popular. People started hearing about it really heavily in 2008 and all the way up till now, about the decreasing population of bees. It's a fact. It's what's happening here in the United States. We're a couple million beehives short from what we were before, and it has to do with pesticides, the nicotinoids and stuff that are in the nicotines and stuff that are used in pesticides. It doesn't necessarily kill the bees on contact, but as it's pumped up through the nectar system of the flowers and plants, the bees collect it. They store it as a residual food source, and as bees come out of winter, they're extremely hungry. They're a little bit sick and tired. They might have some dysentery or some stomach problems from coming out of winter from eating this nicotine pesticide honey that they've stored. It doesn't really affect the eating as a honey product inside the hive from storage, and it affects fields to
Now we're getting dropouts again. Skype's acting like foolish here.
But it ends up hurting the bees, and then they eventually just dissipate and disappear. They don't usually die right in front of the bee hive, but they just don't come back to the hive because they're so sick.
Mm-hmm.
But there's many other factors that go with that. Many beekeepers are way into their 80s and 90s. The beekeeping business was done as a family-oriented business, and kids are going to college now, becoming accountants and moving to New York, and I'm not going out that far. I'm not getting the shit stung out of me anymore, Dad, so we lose the beekeepers on that end. And then you have a lot of books that come out that people just read, YouTube and stuff. They just see stuff, and they're not getting proper mentorship, or there isn't a lot of universities that teach a good management program of beekeeping. A lot of it's entomology, and it's not sitting down and working with bees in your area and getting into beekeeping. You're mostly taught it on an entomology basis. And if you're not going to a college that even teaches that, you're just reading a book. And beekeeping in my area, with climate, altitude, location, water source, dark systems of the year that do not produce honey, is different than somebody's that's in Florida.
Right.
Or it's different than somebody that's in Argentina. Or it's different than somebody's in Alaska. So not all those books can collate and work in your area unless you're being mentored. And since we're losing beekeepers because we don't have family-oriented businesses, and we're not teaching it in like a trade school type area where kids can come out and take a trade school aspect of mentorship to become beekeepers. Some of them are not getting all the hands-on grasp to become beekeepers. So we're losing beekeepers that way. So it's not only the bees getting killed by monocropping and poor farming habits, that we just don't have beekeepers that are taking on the task for pollination to make food.
Huh. That's wow. I mean, that's like a lot to take in. I don't think a lot of people realize, what's going on out there. Manny, I don't know what's going on with your mic, but there's like all this breathing going on, dude.
Oh, I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
It must be so.
We've all been typing at you going, Manny, you're breathing too loud.
I can't see it. I can't.
Right. I keep forgetting. Okay. So, guys, stop typing at Manny. He can't see you.
Got it.
Is that better?
Yeah, yes it is. Yes it is.
Okay.
Yeah, you're for whatever reason
on a treadmill.
Yeah. It's all that
I was
rum.
excited about the information he was saying. I'm sorry. Okay, go ahead.
So you've been all over everywhere. I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I try to. I think beekeeping is a huge aspect that's being lost as an art and a form of skill. I teach at the University of Wyoming's Beekeeping College that they have every year in March. It's usually a 2 to 3 day course that lasts 12 hours a day, and we bring in beekeepers, everything from backyard beekeepers to large industrial beekeepers, commercial beekeepers, hobby beekeepers. Bill Chandler is a big beekeeper. He's come. We have some really name brand people, and some people that come from huge PhD entomology departments that study directly on bee and bee marketing and how to influence bees. And to come to